Knock it out of the park then.
Let's go. Let's go. Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, and I want to welcome you all to Real Estate Talk, TGIF, episode 77. We're so lucky today. We have a gentleman by the name of Nick Krem coming on with us, but just want to make sure you all know that this is Real Estate Talk, TGIF, and we all know what the TGIF stands for, don't we now?
Yes, sir. Thank God it's Friday.
No. Thank God it's finale.
I love it.
Right, so thank God it's finale, and it happens to be a Friday as well, so it kind of works, right?
It goes hand in hand, yeah.
So it kind of works, and today's Friday the 13th. If anybody has any triskaidekaphobia, I apologize for that. But Nick, thanks for coming on. You're a genius in getting your people known and everything else. I want to thank you for coming on. Nick, say hello. Let's get rocking and rolling.
No, what's going on, Dave? No, I definitely appreciate you having me on here. You know, I went back, I was seeing what you have going on. It's you've had some pretty impressive people on here, so I'm definitely honored that you reached out to me to have me on. And yeah, I'm getting ready to knock this out of the park.
Awesome, man. Well, you've been interviewing some great people in my area, like Sekou Pyle and Dave DeVoe, and you've also, I believe, you had John Kitchens on, and a lot of other people from places where we have a parallel universe, you and I. So I want to talk to you about you're a young guy, you're in this business, you've got a great company, and we're going to show some people examples of that thanks to technology. So Nick, do me a favor, tell people about you, where you came from, what your story is, and how you got to be on this show today.
Right. So it all started at a little cubicle here in Cleveland when I started to make calls when I started to make calls at a call center. And I'll tell you what, it was a little rough at first. I hated the phone. I knew nothing about sales, and I knew nothing about real estate. But in that office, it was with Al Stasik, which a lot of people know, like being within our group. But after I started to get the hang of things, I started crushing the phone. But yeah, I started in that cubicle here. Once we started crushing the phone, I started coaching other agents within our team how to start making those calls, and like other ISAs on our team, more specifically, how to start making calls. And this is actually a funny story. I didn't know if I was going to bring this up or not, but my first coaching job outside of the group, right? So like another agent and another ISA outside of our company wanted to be coached. So we had another ISA who's been doing it for about 5 years or maybe even more than that, was supposed to coach, and he quit the day before he was about to coach with them. They looked around, they're like, hey, we need a coach. Who's going to step up? I was the newest person there too, and I'm like, I'll do it. So like, you know what? Why not? I've been crushing it. My numbers were good enough. I'm like, why shouldn't it be me, right? So that's how I started my coaching career outside of there as well. And then I just had a knack for it. I love doing it. So I started coaching internally, and I started working with all of our agents all around the country. So what I was doing at the ISA company was I was working with our agents, and that's when I started realizing personal branding, like the agents who had a killer personal brand, we were absolutely crushing it for. It was so easy to call when you're calling about like, hey, have you heard of Dave? Like, where I'm calling on behalf of Dave Finale. Like, oh, Dave, yeah, I know him. How's it going? Instead of who? I've never heard of that guy before. So the agents that had a personal brand, we were absolutely crushing it for. Then I started putting pieces together. What are they doing to grow their personal brand? How are we going to start helping them shoot videos? What are video texts, emails, and just kind of putting the recipe that we have together now, the content cards all together. And that's when we really started putting everything together of what's it like to build a personal brand from nothing? If you already have a personal brand, what takes you to the next step? And then finally, what tool do you need to tie everything together? So that's kind of how my story came involved. Then I started working with Jay and Al on their personal brands. And that's where we kind of built content cards, working with Jay and Al and some of these top guys in real estate.
So, all right. So we talked about having a personal brand. We talked about getting known. We talked about all this stuff, right? So, and I've seen a lot of different videos and coaching stuff that you've done in the past, and you do a lot of video, right?
Yeah.
So are there other ways are there other quick ways or other ways to get your personal brand out there?
So there are a lot of quick ways, but the reason why video is so important, especially using it on social media, number one, a lot of times it's free, right? So especially if you're just getting started, video is free. It's a way that you can start automating some of the processes too, because I could shoot a video and send it out for the next 2 months. And that one video is still working the entire time. So yeah, there's other ways you can do it. You know, there's postcards, which a lot of times now a lot of people are going to technology. Now it's good to go back to using some of the postcards, using some of the different things as well. But yeah, video is so powerful just because it's a way that we can connect face to face over and over and over again. Like I said, you could shoot one video and use it for the next year, and that video stays working.
Right, exactly. So you just talked about, you mentioned something, postcards, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say it like that is because now that everybody's people are starting to do video more, and there's more social media, and people are saying they're kind of starting to get it about social media. That is when really you have to, I believe, and I coach this in my Sphere of Influence program, the SOI method, about how to use the old ways with the new ways, like the old ways of sending out postcards, following up with that with a thing called the telephone. But this is a cell phone, right? And going on that. But then doing the same postcard as a video, and putting it, like getting it omnipresence. What's the best way do you think there is for agents or anyone that wants to get known, any sales, to get omnipresent? Well, how do you work that? How do you get that going?
Well, it all starts with, especially when it comes to content, the way that you're going to be able to separate yourself is knowing what process to follow and what to differentiate yourself from everybody else. Because as we know in real estate and sales and anything that you do, differentiation is key, right? Yes. So a lot of times too, to become omnipresent, you have to keep hitting the same audience over and over and over again. If you make generic content, if you just send postcards out to the entire city, number one, that's going to be pretty costly, but you're not targeting any specific person, and you can't write the message to speak to that person. Because as we know, everybody, we move based on emotion, we justify with logic, or we buy based on emotion, we justify with logic.
Right.
So if I can't move somebody emotionally, then they're never going to be able to get to that point of buying. So that's why having a specific target audience is always the first step when you start thinking about when you start creating content, when you start doing anything. So I need to know who I'm speaking to first before I know what video am I going to shoot, what's the message, what's the call to action. So that's kind of like the first step of becoming omnipresent, is knowing exactly what audience I'm going to speak to, because then you could just hit that audience over and over and over again.
Okay, so we're talking about, sending something to the entire, let's say, town or city or whatever. It's not, as you said, it's not targeted to somebody you want to touch, right? So there's several groups that we talk about all the time. There's a sphere of influence, circle of influence, whatever you want to call, right? Then there's your targeted type of customer, which it's a lot more difficult today with Facebook ads, the way the terms of service are, but you can still target, your target, your avatar, right? Your client avatar. But getting out there and getting messages, I always try to talk to people about, okay, so we're going to do it, as I said, the old ways and new ways, and to show your differentiation. And that is such a key word, because basically it's nothing fancy. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
It's like you're doing something that others won't do. They refuse to do. And this works perfectly into what I work on all the time, man. So it's like so many people like, well, I don't want to do that, or I'll do it and I'll sound like everybody else. It's just like, it's just when we talk about dialogues and scripts, right? If you want to read the script to someone you're calling, whether it's a for sale by owner, expired, whatever it is, you're going to sound like everybody else.
Right, exactly.
How about being different? And how to be different is to take that next step. Take a chance, be kind of nuts like I am.
Right.
So, I want you to talk to, all this is about one thing. It's about getting known. There's a really good book out there called Known, which will bring you all through this in a long story way. But what are some of the ways specifically where someone new in the market can get known?
That's a great question. So one thing that I think I was able to do very well, because I learned from my mentors, and they always said, leverage me. Look at somebody who's already known in your marketplace, whether you have a relationship with them or not. Number one, if you reach out to them, you'd be surprised at how many people out there, if you reach out to them like, hey, I want to promote your business, I want to promote you, let's do an interview like this, right? Doing interviews with people who already have brand recognition, who have already targeted the audience that you want to speak to. Think about who are some of realtors' best friends? Mortgage lenders. Look for a mortgage lender in your area that already has a big presence. Look at other real estate agents who already have a big presence. Local business owners is huge. That's one of the things we preach is community champ. Think about why people move to a certain area for real estate. Number one, it's either for business, like for work, school district, right? Or the pricing of homes, and it's just like a good fit. So if you interview somebody in the school district, so it shows you're connected, you know people in the school district, you're giving people information about the community they want to move into, that's how you're going to be able to build your brand and be that community champ. If you're interviewing local business owners, school district reps, other agents, other lenders, like, man, this person's connected and they really know the area. So leveraging other people and not making it, I'll tell you what, going live by yourself, doing videos by yourself, building by yourself, can be tough and it can be nerve-wracking. When you do it like this, we get to banter, you get to have videos, it can be more fun, you become more connected. And I'll tell you what, if I'm going and I'm helping you grow your business, like you're helping, like you got me on an interview, right? So I appreciate you having me on an interview coming on here. If anything, if anybody needs anything with coaching, I'm like, man, David's the guy. It's a law of reciprocity. So all of a sudden I'm interviewing local business owners, I'm interviewing mortgage lenders. They're like, man, this is the only agent who had me on his show to talk about how different I am and really promote my business. So they're going to do the same thing back to you. So leveraging other people is what it really comes down to if you want to build fast.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit more about that and people you don't know approaching. Like you and I didn't know each other 2 weeks ago, right?
No, we're not.
So I mean, I just want to tell people what I did this year. In the first of the year, I said, well, if I'm going to continue this broadcast, and honestly, guys, this is 76 weeks in a row. I did miss one Friday because I had food poisoning and never been in bed the whole day before in my life until that day. But we did it the next day, right? And honestly, I mean, I think that was Matt DeFady, and Matt was who's always on the show, who's always watching. But the point I'm making is that I decided that I'm going to talk to anybody and everybody I can get on this broadcast, right? And you're not just anybody, but what I mean is, I still send emails, texts, DMs, or however I can to Anthony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Grant Cardone,
Grant Cardone is on the list. I send it to them that someday they're going to pick it up and say, yeah, I'll be on your show. Look, I've had in the real estate industry, I've had some big names. I've had Chris Smith, Jimmy Mackin, John Cheplack, Steve Harney, right? I've had Haas Pratt. I had Kelly Maniateas a couple of weeks ago. I got Jessica Lenovo coming on next week. Dave DeVoe's going to come on, I think, in a couple of weeks. So I've had good names, and I decided to ask anybody. And when you say that they're going to say yes, this is proof that they're going to say yes, because most of them did not know me. Steve Harney did. I knew half of them. We'd met before. But, you know, and John Cheplack and I worked together for years. But he was hard to get on, right? Yeah. The people I know are harder to get on than the ones I don't know. Right?
No, that's very true. And here's something that we've learned through the invite process, whether it's working with business owners, whether it's working with lenders or anybody. Number one, if you let them know that there's a format and you have specific questions, people who haven't done video, they're a lot more open to shooting video. Like, okay, there's a format. I feel more comfortable. And here's the kicker. It's letting them know, like, hey, I have a couple spots available and I selected you for it. People like feeling wanted, right? People don't like feeling like anybody and anybody can just go and do this. So when you let people know, if you want to do an interview with a local business owner, so it's just letting them know, like, hey, I really like your spot. I've been here before and I have a couple spots available right now for promoting local business. I selected you to be a part of this group. Would one of these days work for you? Right? It's not just, hey, I really want to promote your business. Go live with me. You can't do it like that. That's almost a little bit of desperation. We've had people try it and they reach out to like, man, how come you're getting these businesses, but I can't seem to get these businesses? And that was the one thing that we realized, the invite sequence, it's that scarcity, right? We don't have many spots. I selected you to be part of our community chain.
Right. So what I want to do, I want to go real quick into, I want to try to come with total integrity. I want to talk about content cards. Okay. Yeah. Where did the idea come from with content cards?
So that was working with, like I said, we were working with some like pretty big agents in the industry with Jay Kinder and Al Stasek. And we were working with their personal brand, their videos, and kind of working a lot on their back end. Right. So one of the biggest, one of the things that I know that they needed, and we were working with them, was they had their videos scattered on the internet, right? Whether it was on YouTube or Wistia or like all these different places, the value propositions were in different places, call to action, social media. And at the end of the day, if I ask you right now, where is XYZ video, and you can't tell me, well, there's somebody out there who could text it over you to you quicker, right? So what we decided to do was take all their information, all their content, whether it was a video link, a testimonial link, their home evaluation. Well, they don't have home evaluations because they don't sell anymore, but like Facebook, Instagram. So we took all their information and put it on one centralized place, made it very mobile friendly and personal, branded it all to them. So no matter what, it's going to be all call to actions going to you. So nobody leaves your funnel.
Right. So while we're talking about, let's see how technology is going to work for me today, so I can share a couple of examples. Right. Yeah, so let's see. Let's make sure this is going to work. That's there. Okay, we're going to bring this to the broadcast.
Nice.
See, did it come up?
Yeah, I can see your screen. I don't know if on the live we can.
Okay, so wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get rid of this one right now because I made a mistake. So let's just go.
We can see it on the
photo, add a poll. Oh yeah, I can do it. Here, watch. I'll go.
Beautiful.
Solo. There. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. So let's look at this one right here. This is a great agent in northern New Jersey. And look, when you come up, it comes up with a bot to ask you questions. Right. This is Bob Jennis from the DeVoe Group in northern Bergen County, New Jersey.
Speaking of which, Bob has enough videos now. We're going to reach out to him and make sure he gets his customized video put up there.
So I mean, if you look at this, right? It's got his company. It's got his Find My Dream Home, home evaluation, free home search, sell it for 18% more. This is stuff that people are interested in, right? All this great stuff here that he's got, right? Free consultation, his social media connections, and then his stuff at the end, and it's all there. That's Bob. And there's his phone number right up top. Yeah. Then we go to Chris Tardo, who's a team leader, right? And Chris does it for a lot of different things. He's got a lot of different things in here. So we got Chris's stuff here. Can everybody see this okay? Right? So we got all Chris's stuff. And then we have another agent, Tara, down in Central Jersey, right? Who's, again, got her stuff all here. And yes, these are all people I work with. So I'm not promoting. I don't mean to promote one company. It just happens to work that way, right? But that's really, I mean, it's a great. Are we back? Yeah, there we are. So I mean, it's a great way to say, hey, look, here's my online business card. If someone says, hey, can I have your contact information? Hey, Dave Finale whatever. They're using .work. I see.
Yeah, we're using .work. A lot of times, if .com's not available for us, we need to create a link and we need to host it for you guys too. So .work is 99.9% of the time available. But yeah, and that's the thing too. It's no matter what, I know exactly where I'm sending you. Oh, you need to go to my event, nickkrem.com. Oh, you need to learn more about this, nickkrem.com. Any question that you ask me, you can find in this one centralized place. And on top of that too, it's just like, hey, what's a good number to reach you at? I'll send you my digital business card. Now you start collecting these and get more information too.
There may be some people out there that are familiar with a product called Linktree for Instagram, right? So I use that on Instagram, and it's not similar to it. I mean, it has links on it to go to different places. This is fantastic, like you said, right? And one of the things I want to recommend to everybody that's listening and will listen to this is if you do not own yourname.com, go get it today. Yeah. Here's the other thing, that if people misspell your name the same way on a regular basis, buy that one too, right? Yes. Because I have David Finale spelled correctly.com. I also have David Finale, F-I, spelled incorrectly.com. I own both of those. So this way, whatever I'm going to use that for, I've got one as the main and the other's pointing to it as a whatchamacallit, as a whatever, I can't think of the word. But anyway, you know what I mean? Forward. Anyway, so these things are really, really important to do. And so you got content cards. And one of the great thing about that is with video and with content, and you can send them different places. And we began talking about content last week this earlier this week when we got into it. And when I want to hit one thing about interviews, though, one of the things about interviews is it's going to allow you, and I want you to talk a little bit about this. It's going to allow you to break into other sphere of influence. It's also going to allow you to break into other markets. Talk a little bit more about that.
So you want to talk about like being able to break into their market, or
break into other markets because of the interviews that you're doing, like the store owner or whoever you're doing. It's going to allow you to get credibility in that area.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You have to think about it. It's what is it like? You're the average of the 4 people you hang around with, and you usually have like around the similar incomes of the 4 people you hang around with the most. So if you think about it, if you're interviewing business owners, local business owners, there's a good chance their friends are either business owners. They do something similar. So you can even start thinking about how you can break into different price ranges based on the school district that you want to interview in, because you have to look around the school district. What's the average price range for that community? So those are like great ways that you can really start breaking into different areas because you're interviewing a respected person in the community. So basically when people see a respected person in the community, you're interviewing them vis-a-vis, you're going to start becoming a respected person in the community too. And on top of that, one thing I always say is I think everybody always says, buy local. I think we all still go to Costco. Everyone always says, help local business owners. But who out there actually does it? So guess what? You'll be almost that local hero. Interviewing local business owners, trying to stay local, keeping people current. That's what people want. So at the end of the day, too, if you're keeping it not just all about, I just sold a home, I got an award, I sold a home. Because guess what? Everybody has that voice in their head. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? And if I'm looking at your content, you sold a home, great, doesn't affect me. You got an award, great. Also, you're interviewing local business owners. I didn't know that shop was there. I might start going shop there. I might go start eating at these places. I might learn something about the school district. Then, hey, also I need to work with the realtor. Well, geez, the only one that I see all the time interviewing people in that community, nickkrem.com. You know exactly where to go to, and that's where working with the content cards, when it's the same call to action, that's that ad recall, where somebody can be like, man, I've heard that same link over and over and over and over and over again, because all the call to actions lead there. So you're just going to hear the same link over and over and over again. And that's when somebody thinks of you, where do they go? What do they do? Like you said, Google. That's why you got Dave Finale too, to make sure that you get that next one.
Yeah, and let's also understand too, the people you're interviewing are going to have a personal page and are also going to have a business page. And they're going to promote that video, because I'm going to tell you that 9 out of 10 of them don't know what a video camera is or don't know how to do it and are scared shitless to do it anyway. So they're going to promote that video of you to their sphere of influence. And that's one of the ways to break into and to co-promote, somebody else's business in the area. Like, I mean, how great is it that he's going to promote your video to his thousands of customers? I mean, everybody worries about
his family to just like, he's going to be proud of this. Like, man, I got interviewed. I'm going to show other people, and they're going to show him exactly what he was doing. People love that stuff. I'll tell you what, it's really exciting learning things about local businesses. Just for example, I did a community champ interview with a local business owner over here in Cleveland. I've been going to this burrito joint for, I think like the last 7 years since I figured out about it. When I was in college, well, the 1 year I was. So the 1 year I was there, my mom drove a half hour to get 4 burritos out of the way, drove another hour and a half to come drop off 4 burritos for me throughout the week. I love this place so much, but I just figured out they get all their food here local, and it's all fresh. They don't advertise that. But I interviewed him. He gets it all from the West Side Market, which is like a local place over here. And then the way they rolled up, I just learned so much more about it. It just made me like the place that much more. And I got a great new connection with somebody who has an up-and-coming business here in Cleveland.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. I wanted to ask you about, you've got your videos, you've put all that stuff together, and then what we want to do, and then we want to talk about getting the information out there. So you just want to put it, do you want to just put it out there, or do you want to, put a couple of bucks behind it, or what do you want to do with the content that you've got?
Well, a lot of times too, that's a great question, because ads can get a little bit tricky as well. But what I will say is this: the easiest way to figure out what your target audience likes is by posting that on your personal page, or not boosting it first, and let your audience decide what ads, like what videos they like, what content they like. The ones that get more likes, engagement, their audience is literally telling you, we like this. So those will be the ones that I end up posting on my other page and put some bucks behind it. So, because I'll tell you what, there's been so many times where I think this is going to be the ad. Everyone's going to love this.
Right.
And it wasn't so liked. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's just throw this out here. It got a lot of likes, a lot of engagement, a lot of views. So the first thing I always like to do is kind of let my audience, I test with the audience first. Let them see what kind of content they like, what they don't like. And then those would be the ones I start to target and really start to push things towards.
So you're wearing a hat that says Community Champ.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about Community Champ, how it started, what it is, and
Right.
just talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it started, so it's to start it off, I guess a good frame of reference would be it's a community chump versus a community champ. Those are the two you're fighting. And I'll say this right up front if you end up being the community chump and based on my description, it's okay. You don't know better. And I'm not calling you out on this, but the community chump, they post just listed, just sold, open houses, and their sales team. That's it. You know why? It's all about you. It's all about you. And then you just want to use the community like, hey, I sell homes, work with me. Community Champ realizes real estate's about way more than that. So that's when you're getting out there, you're interviewing local business owners. You're out there to try and provide value to them and more information. It kind of all stemmed from working so close hand in hand with Al Stasic here in Cleveland. I told him that the one day. He's like, oh, no shit. I didn't know you wrote the whole book about me. Because we have the book, The Community Champ, within our training library with content cards too. So the way that he really built a lot of his business too was being very active in the community, right? He has this whole Rock and Restock where this last year's Rock and Rescue for our nonprofit too, Agents Against Child Trafficking. But he puts on this whole rock concert and invites everybody in the community, and we just raise money to go to a certain charity. He'll do interviews with local business owners. He goes around and he's just adding value in so many different places, and his business was able to thrive from that. So what we wanted to do is take a lot of the principles and a lot of things he was doing and duplicate it for other people as well.
So you took that, made into a little organization or whatever you do with it to promote different stuff. So that's really cool. So tell me about your coaching, what you coach, how you coach, and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So along with that digital business card, that landing page, essentially the one-stop shop for anything that you need to send people to, we have a whole training library. That we have like 27 different video scripts in there that are pre-made, ready for you guys to go shoot. We have there's the Community Champ book that we have in there. So we have a training library which kind of gives you the first steps into building your personal brand. And then we have our weekly content coaching too within our Facebook group. And what we do in there is basically what we've done with agents all across the country. And on top of that, like what we're currently working on them with and like little projects, new things like we were talking about StreamYard before this, all these different places. We just kind of keep people up to date. What's new and what's current? Because as we know with technology, it's always changing. So I could sell you just one coaching course here for the next 2 months, and then it might be outdated because this whole new technology just came out. So what we want to do with our coaching within there is just weekly content coaching, and we keep people up to date with what's current and what they can do, whether it's like a holiday video, since the holidays are coming up, what we're learning right now. So what we really want to do is just kind of keep people up to date with what's going on in the content world.
That's fantastic. That's really good. I mean, there's so much. We talk about content, and people say, well, we've just given them so many things that they can do, but we talked about a lot of content with interviews, and we talked about going out there. We talked about doing live. There's other types of content that people can do, and it's educational, right? So this is one of the biggest questions I get all the time. First, when it talks about content, they talk about, what am I going to do a video on, or what am I going to write about, or where am I going to get this stuff on?
Yeah.
And I say, well, my first answer to that question is, well, what did your last buyer ask you? What was the last question they asked you?
Yeah.
There's content. Have you ever heard of, Nick, a site called answerthepublic.com?
No, I haven't.
So if you go to answerthepublic.com, it's a great site where you're allowed to, I believe you can ask for 2 sets of information a day. And you type in home buyers, right? Mm-hmm. And home buyers you're going to get a whole bunch of questions. You know what? I mean, I could actually show it to people, but I don't want to take that time because it's just, it'll give you all the stuff. It'll give you questions, what people are asking on the internet today.
Right.
So you put in home buyers, home sellers, investors, whatever. It's a great freaking site. It's just amazing. Answerthepublic.com. And we're talking about all this stuff. And we actually have an expert to content, an expert to scripting and dialogues, and a guy I like to call friend and coach, Sekou Pyle. Would you like to say hello to Sekou?
Bring him on.
Here we go. He's coming right on now. Sekou Pyle, welcome to the show.
I know these guys.
What's going on, brother?
What up?
What's going on?
Your accountability posts are killing it right now, champ.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We got to stay on top of them, every single day.
I am doing it. I am on it. What Finale doesn't know is that I'm using that as a motivation for our little challenge as well.
Oh, really?
Hey, you in the group. You got to post in there every single day, or you just add $20 to the pot. Winner takes all.
Oh shit! Let's go. Let's grow.
Oh wow!
Let's go. Let's grow. What's going on, guys? I joined a little late. I love you guys, but I joined a little late. I'm trying to make sure that I'm in full integrity.
Yeah, we've been talking about interviews. We've been talking about content and the value of content. I just brought up the topic of answerthepublic.com, and he was talking about community champ or community chump, right? So community champ, community chump, but like all the what most people are posting and are posting about. Oh, I have an open house tomorrow. I sold a house last week. This, that, and the other thing. And I've always talked about content and how stupid it looks, honestly. I'm sorry, I'm being a little emphatic there. How stupid it looks is, got another closing, just sold, and so I know people have actually shown their checks, which really bothers me. And that's that. And the other thing I mentioned, Sekou, was talking about when you're using a dialogue or using a script, if you're just going to read it, I mean, how does that work? So we're talking about content for the most part, but also talking about that. Why don't you add something to that, if you would, please?
I'm passionate about it, right? So the thing about scripting is, I had a martial art instructor a million years ago who was like, you could do all of the forms, you could do all of the moves, and you could be really good at it, and you could suck in a fight. Right. He says, because you don't have it. There's no passion behind it. There's no, the intent is just to be good at practice and not to be good in the ring and not to be good in a fight. And I was like, well, that's crazy. Like, why would anyone do that? And he said something really poignant to me. He says that most people practice so that other people can see it. Right. Most people practice so that other people can see it. They want to see that they're good, instead of most people practicing so that they know that they're good, right? And so I got a simple approach to scripting, to lead gen, to communication with just about anybody. This is $1 million tip, I think, that if you pull out your pen, whoever is out there, they pull out their pen and they want to write it down. They tell me later on whether they made money off of it. I treat everyone that I talk to, either on the phone or in person, as if they were my favorite aunt. I literally communicate with them as if they were my favorite aunt. Man. I start the conversation in my head.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's amazing, because I'm just thinking about it too. It's like I could talk to my favorite aunt all day.
And you know she's got your back. You know she wants to support you. You know that you could say what you want to her. It's not your mom, so you could go over the top. You know, this and that. You know. It's your favorite aunt. So every single conversation I have, be it scripted or not, I approach it as if it was my favorite aunt. If you take the old Mike Ferry script around for sale by owners, hi, this is Sekou. I'm calling about the home for sales. It's the owner. I'm doing a survey of all the for sale by owners in the area. Just wondering if you sold this home, right? But if you give it a call like it's your favorite aunt, hey, it's me. It's Say. I'm calling about the home you got for sale. Damn, I'm looking at this. Why'd you decide to sell this on your own rather than list with a real estate agent? Like, why not me? Auntie, the energy and intention and passion goes in there, and the rest, I think, is history. It's the secret to my success. I treat everybody like they're my favorite aunt.
Yeah, and just by you saying that, I was talking about this story the other day. I remember when I was coaching this one agent, and he was a top producer on his team a year over and year over and year over again. And I was coaching specifically for calling, because when I was working at a call center, I was calling 8-12 hours a day. Back when I was doing the phones every single day. So, and you can imagine how much fun that would be, and all over the country. But when I was working with this guy, he was in a slump, and he said he couldn't figure out why. And just recently, he's like, I'm going to hit my all-time low. I lost to a first-year agent who hasn't done a deal yet. Hasn't done a deal, and he lost to him. He's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, let me ask you. Like, when we started going through the motions, I'm like, what happened was that he called the person, like a good agent should. He just simply asked him, why didn't you choose me? Just out of curiosity, like nothing bad, but why did you go with the other guy? They're like, it just felt like the right thing to do. Like, there it is. They felt like this guy, he might not be as experienced, but he will run through a wall to get to point B.
That's right.
You're just there to try and sell them on your home and make some money. What you're trying to do is get your numbers up, not help them. They felt like this guy would run through a wall. He might mess up, but he will fix it for you. And that's what the difference is. And that's where the internal motivation really comes in. Are you doing this to sell a bunch of homes to be on the top of the board? Or are you doing this to help as many people as you can?
So necessary. When they say like dogs can smell fear, right?
Yeah.
Your clients can smell your bullshit.
Right.
Yes, they can.
Like, are you doing
that
this because your boss is telling you to say this, or is this really what you're going to be doing for me?
Hell yeah. Damn.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's got to come from your heart anyway. And like you said, Seiko, you got to talk to them like it's your favorite aunt. You got to talk to them like you know them, like you've been there before. And the passion coupled with it, you can't lose with it. It's the same with content. It's the same with your interviews. It's the same with this broadcast. It's all the same. Would you agree, guys?
Hell yeah.
That's why, especially with content, show your mess ups, show your failures, go live. People like knowing that you mess up. Why? Because it humanizes you. I'll tell you what, sometimes some of the best reactions, engagement I was getting was when I would post my blooper reels from all the videos that I shot. And I wanted to post them because a lot of times, especially if it's an edited video, you see the final product. You don't see the 20 times the cussing, the throwing a chair, somebody walking in, I'm screaming on to get the heck out of here. Like, but it happens, and it happens to everybody. So when I share that, they're like, man, you're just like me. You might not be that great at video, right? But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is you just get on here. We're human. We mess up. We have a good time. So that's a big part of content as well.
So when we do our 2K Wednesdays, right? The feedback that I get most often, I'd say probably about 65% of the time is when I mess up. Or is when somebody like gives me a lot of shit on the phone. Like if I'm on the phone and they're really coming at me. And the people, like, when I bump into my friends and my family that watch the broadcast will be like, yo, that guy was in your ass. Like, he was getting you. And they, like, remember details about that. And I'm like, what about the 6 others that said yes to me? They're like, oh, yeah, that was nice, too.
That was cool. Yeah. What about all that motivational stuff and all that? To make
nah.
Yeah, that was
like,
cool.
That one guy that was just a jerk.
I got to tell you that I learned from a buddy of mine, Matt Allman, out in California, that the imperfection is the connection, and that's a phrase we use all the time, right? If people look at it and say, like you said, Nick, you're just like me. And when people say, well, I'm afraid to do video, I'm afraid that I mess up, I say, good, mess up, make mistakes, look like a fool, because you know what? That's who you are. Not a fool, but you know what I mean. Right. You're being yourself. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. Look, going live is probably the best practice there is because, yes, when it finishes, you can delete it.
Right.
But you're already live. You already did it.
It's done.
If you're not going live, if you're going live by yourself, I figured this out the hard way. It was a topic I knew like the back of my hand. It was a community champ versus community chump. I'm like, man, I don't need notes. I don't need to figure this out. I'm going to go live and talk about it. Nope. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm not interviewing anyone. It was just me. It's like the camera's on. I'm kind of trying to like just fill in the blanks as I'm going. If you're going live by yourself, have just some simple notes to follow. Number one, I'll end up in right field talking about the Cavs game and how bad they are right now. I always have notes if I'm going to go live by myself. Any video I have is set up in simple to read problem solution framework. When you go live with a group, it makes it easier because you can banter, right? If I stop talking, like Sekou will pick it up for me. But if you're by yourself, have just some notes on the side. For the love of God, do it. Or else that camera will be on you, the light will be on you, and it's It's a lot when you're just doing it by yourself.
Yeah. So early in the week, you and I had a Zoom call, and I made notes. I got them in front of me. Now, what do? This is behind me with notes, so I can see what if there's the main points that we want to talk about, right? So I mean that's how it is. The other thing is when I talk to agents, one of the best videos that they can do community-wise is a market statistics video. And I said, look, if you don't want to have any notes behind the camera or whatever, I want you to look up 5 pieces of information about the market. Why 5? Because I don't want you to do 5 on the video, because you're only going to remember 2, right? You're only going to remember 2. Especially if you know 5. Hey, you know what? It's easy. You go along and you get cold and you freeze. There it is, right? So that's the important part, is to have a plan when you go. A friend of mine, Trish Lido, was all about going live. She was go live with a purpose. Know what you're going to talk about.
And on that note too, when you're talking about the market stats, it's super important as real estate agents. It's almost your duty, or our duty, to say it in a way that the customer understands it. If I say the market absorption is up or down, it's like people are not going to know what you're talking about. Heck, some real estate agents won't know what you're talking about. So when you can communicate with people the way that they can understand, that's what makes you an expert. Using big words, using a bunch of stats, that doesn't make you an expert. That just makes you somebody that can read off a piece of paper. When you can break it down into what does this mean for you, that's when people start looking to you for advice, because now they can ask questions and build off of it. So that's how you can take 2 stats, like you said, build off of it, and there's your whole video. Here's some stats in the market. This is what it means to you as a homeowner. At the end, click the link below or message me for a free consultation.
So guys, I like to give my stuff away, right? Like it's free to have. You can have it, right? So there was a study that was done about the greatest way to persuade human beings. Number one on the list is giving back, is reciprocity, giving something to them. The very second highest thing that you can do is to make them feel like they're part of the tribe, congruency, right? And so that's just a fancy way of saying that you're just like everyone else, right? It's not that you're warm and you're single and alone and no one else is like you, but like you're just like everyone else. So a quick trick that I very rapidly learned is the frequently asked questions statement, right? So when I was doing consultations with buyers or I was doing consultations with sellers, I would say, you know what, the other sellers that I'm working with asked me this, or the other buyers that I'm working with asked me this, right? And I would give them a question that may or may not have been on their mind, but it would present it to them as if everyone else was asking the same question. Well, now that we've got this, because I was doing it back in the Stone Ages when I had to meet with them personally and not just digitally. So now that we have this forum that we can go on and digitally meet with folks, a great way to do your market stats would just just start off your conversation with, the number one question I got this week is, what's the market doing, or this and that, or whatever market stat you wanted to present. Right. And if you start off giving them the question that is in their head, even if it's not in their head, it's one of the most persuasive things that you can do. You're putting 2 together. You're asking them for congruency, right? And you're giving them something.
Right.
So it's a great way to leverage your videos. It's a great way to leverage your conversations, and you can do it in your presentations too. But that's just, another tip.
And just another thing, when I was on the phone, one of my biggest moments with people was when they would tell me either their problems or why their home didn't sell, how their world was falling down. And I would just kind of chuckle like, I've worked with a lot of people just like you, and here's what we did. Make them feel like they're not alone in this process. I've helped a lot of people who are in the same exact situation, and this is what we did for you, right? I'm an expert. I've been here. I've done that. Just follow me, take my hand, and I'll show you the way.
Awesome.
That's the best way to do it. So we're running up on time here. I want to ask if there's any final thoughts that we have about our conversation about content and everything else. Say, Ku, do you want to chime in on any content for agents as a thing?
I want to do a shameless plug for Nick. Okay. So this is 1000% real. Every single time I send someone my digital card, my content cards, digital card, every single time. It starts off the same way. They go, oh, okay, yeah, you're sending me a digital card. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it gets to them and they're like, oh shit. And then they spend maybe 10 to 15 seconds just looking at the card. And then they ask me like, did you do this? Like, how'd you get this? And I'm like, and then I just give them Nick's card. So do I have a tip? Yes, I have a tip. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Tried and true methods, stand on the shoulders of greatness. You got this guy, Nick Krem, with the content cards, community champ, who has put this platform together to make your life easier. Just to make your life easier. And what I'm going to tell you right now is just do it. It's so, look at that. Look at it. Look at it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not only is it worth it, it is the best way you could spend your discretionary marketing dollars. Yeah. I don't know if you discuss rates and things like that, man, but I salute you, brother. I didn't have to lift a finger.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate that, Sekou. And that's one thing that we try and do is we didn't want to recreate the wheel. We searched for places that could do it for the price point we wanted. We searched for places to have all the features we wanted. We just couldn't find it. Whether some of the places you couldn't have video, you couldn't customize it, you couldn't personal brand it. So like that's not what we want. And then some of the places you have to spend thousands of dollars just to have your own customized website, plus hundreds of dollars a month just to keep it updated. Right. We're able to do the website, the training library, weekly coaching for $20 a month. So and this is one thing we always look at it. What would I want it to look like if I was a customer, right? I wouldn't want content cards posted all over it. I wouldn't want contentcards.com/Nick. That's not what I would want. Hey, we personal branded all to you. Our brand is nowhere to be found. Why? Because you're the authority and you guys are the ones that matter. But no, I keep
begging you to put a content cards link into mine so that I could just say, oh, you want to know where I got it? Just click that link down there.
We'll add it to it. And then the one thing we're going to do for you too is we're going to get that get to know me video up top. We're going to get that done.
So wait. So you want to know what the biggest thing is that I didn't have to lift my fingers at all. And then he's like, you need to have a video up there. And I'm like, oh, my fault.
Right. Exactly. So what we did was we put contentcards.com on the screen. I want to make a comment about this too. For anyone who's marketing themselves or something else, always remember that it's good to use capital letters, right? So you notice I have the first C of content and the C of cards capitalized because you can see it. So just think if you're driving down the street and a guy's got a company, thanks to Nick, I got this idea before, totalasset.com, right? If you don't have the two words capitalized, it's going to look like total ass, right?
Yeah, right.
So just remember, it's not against the rules. It's not going to hurt your URL at all if you capitalize each word, right?
Right.
So if you look at when I put real estate skill builder out there, I'm capitalizing the first letter of each word because I want people to know what it is, right? Anyway,
damn right.
That's my 2 cents. Nick, we put your website, your URL on the screen. Let me know. Why don't you tell people how they can find you? Yeah. And go through that.
Where you can find me, nickkrem.com. So you can find everything you need to know about me in that singular spot. Why? Because I use our product too. We built it for ourselves, right? So if you just go to nickkrem.com, schedule a call with me. We can talk about your content. We'll talk about your content strategy. I'd be happy to do it. Free call. Just go ahead and hop in there. We have like free personal branding class. We have a lot of free things on there you guys can get to help build your brand. But yeah, it's nickkrem.com. Anything you need to know about me, social media, start following some of my videos, my podcast. It's all going to be right there.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show today. It was robust. It was action-packed. It was passionate. It was awesome. And thank you, Sekou, for joining us. I just love the synergy we got here. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Next week, we have Jessica Lenovola coming on. She's a champ in and of itself with the listing process. So she's going to be on. And we got lots of surprises coming up and some great people joining us over the next forever. I mean, we're going to keep going. Our goal is to keep going. So week 77, next week is 78. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys. Take care.
Yeah, we'll see you, Dave.